There's some questions on the wall, and today there will be some questions on the table. If you need a time to be quiet and reflect about your learning, process what you are acquiring here, maybe think how you can take it home and use it with your young people, then you can go there, take a minute. Maybe there are other people reflecting there that want to chit-chat or just be with yourself in your headphones. Just use that space as well and leave your impressions on the boards or on the papers that are showing up, also for others to see what reflections are coming here. Because it's very easy in a tool fair that we get trapped into the tool trap, which is doing, doing, doing. How do we do it? And we don't process why are we doing, for what are the impacts that this might have. So use that space as you wish, but it's there for you. Right? That's one thing. Another thing is that, as you see, we have a media wall with posts, like I said yesterday, from whoever is posting on the social media. The media team is doing a great job. Thank you guys there in the corner for doing that as well. And Jan, who is there as well, I don't know where. So keep contributing for it. It's getting quite lively and interesting. And last but not least, you saw in the video that we have a designer drawing that drawing over there. You won't see it, it's behind that pillar. But we have a black and white drawing. It's a young person from Gaia. She's designing or drawing there an image of the monastery where we were yesterday and our logo. And tomorrow she will be finishing it. So if you want to talk to her and ask any question, go ahead. That's Mariana. All right? Anne. All right, at 5 o'clock? Very good. So if you have questions about national agencies, Saltos, 5 o'clock upstairs, they will be there to answer your questions. Also a great moment for networking and for understanding more of the job that you guys do. All right, any other announcements that you have? No? Okay, well, then I'm going to present our next TF Talker. And I asked the TF Talkers to tell me how to present them. And Marija was very poetic, and she told me this. It's a story. Oh, here I go. Today's TF Talker is an international consultant and trainer for people, organizational, and community development. She's a psychologist, physical theater director, and a poetry writer. She believes that beauty will heal the world, is accidentally clairvoyant, and loves passionately. Her talk today poses questions such as, what is body poetry? What does it mean to really trust the body? How is your body connected to our soul? And how does it connect us to other human beings? Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, Marija Farmer.
Hello. Good morning. Let's start with that. So, how is your body right now? Huh? And where is your soul? Traveling? Okay. It's a big story. Well, when I say body, kind of, we understand what I'm talking about. When I say soul, there is a vague kind of, I would say, common understanding, but then I'm going to come back, well, what I call soul. I'm not having a definition, which is like a proper definition of a soul. That would be very hard. So I'm going to talk a bit today about body poetry and what's something which I call really body poetic and what body can do for our physical and mental well-being, but also how it connects us with other human beings and how it's something that we can transfer in our practice, in a training practice. And me being traveling all around the world, but also between sectors, for some reason, in the youth sector, it was the least space to introduce this. So for me, when the COVID crisis, the original title of the talk was Bodies and Souls Lost in a Virtual World. But basically, I'm not going to talk about COVID. COVID opened the door with this introducing the distance, physical distance, and then we had a campaign that physical distance is not a social distance, which I claim not to be true, and I'm going to come back to that. So that was the entrance for me, like opening the door to actually maybe try to talk about body and what body does for us and how it can help us to maybe deal with different concepts, emotions, connections between people in a completely different way, coming from the opposite side of reflection, critical thinking, designing concepts, redesigning concepts, etc. So I believe that everybody, it's a common truth, that we would say body is connected to our physical and emotional well-being. You would agree with that, yeah? So that's something which everybody would say. Science, medical science, shamans, theater, etc. What I've seen, actually, that it's very rarely really lived, like implemented. It's, as a common understanding, it's there. I would like to give you an example. I believe that some of you, well, I know the older ones, maybe younger, not still traveling. Some 10 years ago, I was still very much in international youth work, and I was traveling like hell. So it was really like flying all the time. And in one point at the airport, I got a huge panic attack. And I suddenly started to be afraid of planes like crazy. It's like I'm flying the first time. I'm entering and like, horrible. And Lufthansa flight attendant told me, because she saw me that I was out of my mind, and she said, "Do you fly first time?" And I said, "No, I'm flying way too much." And she said that I got a diplomatic disease, which apparently is something which is happening with a lot of these diplomats or whatever. When they fly extensively, after a while their body just go crazy. What they do with that, they say they stop flying for 3 months, they go on some anxiety, whatever practice thing, and then they continue flying. And I remember my shock then, because I was thinking, oh my God, what kind of approach is that? It's totally weird, it's opposite. Because there were a 0 second in that moment that I was thinking I would override my body. My body says I need to stop flying. For me, that was it. I need to stop flying. In that time, I didn't know why, but there were no question, should I stop flying? So it's no, I'm not going to heal my, my body sent the impulse. I followed that. It took me some time before I actually really stopped flying. I mean, it's kind of lessening. And then I started my company, my family. It was one of the best decisions of my life. And my body led first, my soul followed. And when I talk about body wisdom, that's it. Body is older, it goes faster. But you need to know your body. You need to trust that impulse. You need to learn what it means, because it can be a lot of things, like they say, psychosomatic, etc. If you're connected to your body, you are not doing psychosomatic symptoms. That doesn't exist. Your body does like a language. So I'm going to talk a little bit about language. It's very hard to talk about language with the body. So some of the things I will try to show, but they also, because it's a talk, I cannot really show very much, but we're going to try some stuff. First thing is that our body is basically, I would call it inner cat. I'm a cat person. Maybe you're a dog, chicken, I don't know. But it's inner animal. And it functions through impulses. It's a specific field where it exists. So for me, there is no, I'm working with the creativity a lot, and creativity is direct linked with that alive part of us. So it's a direct connection, and I seriously believe there is no creative thinking. For me, it's a creative being. Reflection is fully opposite of creativity. Mindfulness also. It's like a continuum, so it's a very relevant part to deal with. I'm not saying we now kill the reflection, etc. But this is opposite. If we work with something which is body wisdom and body presence, it's here, and it's not combinable in the same time, in the same space. So if you have an inner cat, when something is nice, what cat does is doing, yeah? And if something goes on your nerves, you just, yeah? You have very instinctual reaction. It transfers to words, but that's something which cat does. And in training setting, I allow cats to be present, and I kick out everything else. For example, you can come and say, sorry, I'm having a blockages to talk in public, or however it's called, I'm having a block. Yeah, that might be true, but there is some psychology talking. The pure fact that you were able to tell that sentence means actually not. You can speak, yeah, which is enough. And then in some psychotherapy or some other context, I might take that in consideration. In the work with my creative field or body field, I say, okay, bye. You go and drink coffee. somewhere in a cafe bar. You're a very nice character, I love you. You're very serving something, but you're not allowed in this space. And with my presence, with my inner cat, I kind of call, how to say, inner cats of other people. So everything else is out. And this is a safety, and I'm probably very much in love with that part in human nature. So, and it never failed me. So it always appears. So it really never failed me. Let's talk about touch. How much do you touch people? Do you touch people? Very good, because then you're not going to die. Because touch is as essential as food and as water. So it's not, there is no question around that. So when COVID started with this, having physical distance and then people getting depressed and apathetic, of course, if I leave my cat, I don't know, for a month alone, and then I talk to her with Zoom, she's going to die. She doesn't care. Oh, Zoom, Marija, wonderful, yes? So it's very important why it's transferable for, I don't know, for people doing virtual practice. If you live with someone, even, this is like a horrible contact is better than any contact because it's still body, if at least some human beings are around. But if you really live alone and then you have a virtual training and then you imagine that contact was happening and then after 3 days you are depressed and then you're wondering why, it's probably because you were lack of touch. There is a lack of touch. So you need to, if you plan your virtual training, and you need to check if your participants are actually living alone, and if they do, to ask them to go and provide some food, because touch is giving sense of safety and belonging, and actually feed that life's energy or inner cat, as I call it. This kind of other contact, it's also a contact, yeah, so it's a different kind of contact, but it's not, that's not that essential contact that really feeds us. There are 3 levels of touch. One is physical touching, so it's really touch. Another one is proximity, and it's like meter or less when our vibrations are still happening. And there is a proof that, for example, healthy thyroid can heal sick one if you're closer than 1 meter. And it's a proven fact. Medical records also have it. They can't explain it. Well, I don't work for explanation, but that's something which is happening. So who knows what our bodies can do when we are close? And then there is eye contact, which is like 10 meters, 15, and then I go back, and then we are lost. So this is 3 levels of touch, and then if you cannot touch physically someone, at least send people to sit in a cafe in a proximity. It's still some kind of food, maybe not the perfect one, but that's one part of body poetics, okay? That we are clear. Second part, and there is a huge area there, so I cannot go through this, but just to show, it's levels of energy. And our energy pretty much defines our mind, physical, emotional, etc., but also our interaction with the world and our perception of the world, what is happening. So there is, for example, the first level is a collapse mode. Go into the collapse, try it. So everything goes down. It's really down. It's the cells, everything is down. Whatever can go, it's down. And it's not very pleasant thing. But collapse mode is something which allows receiving. This is the place where energetically you cannot do or give anything. And we're pretty much culture, when I say globally, I mean, which is focused on giving. Wow, such a great giver. And we rarely hear the word great receiver. But if the receiving is blocked, the life energy is blocked. So if you're not able to receive, or, if everybody would be a giver, the world will be in a huge problem. So learning, everybody will fall in one point in their life. And collapse, however unpleasant it might be, allows receiving and can teach us receiving, for example, yeah? Then we have a relax mode, and relax mode is when try to relax, imagine you're drinking a cocktail on a beach. Try to drink a cocktail, see what your body does. And it's very clumsy movement, yeah. So it's my head is bound, and my spine, this is a relaxed thing. Everything moves like this. And then that's a connection mode. It's when we say being spontaneous, that's it. We walk, and then, oops, I just join my hips, and we go together, which is very easy. Something else turns me back, and I say, oh, there is something else. I go together. There is an easiness in it. So if you want to play with easiness, that can be that, yeah? And for example, you have an action mode when you're arrow, and then you can move 300 people saying, let's go now and jump. Yeah? So it's a voice, but not a voice only. It's a spine, it's eyes, it's an arrow. I go, I focus, I order. And then I cannot do that in a collapse mode. You know, I can tell, Anita, will you jump? Yeah? No, it's not going to happen, but in an action I can do. And then, for example, we have an essential mode, which is spiraling. Yeah? So this is the hypnosis, and it catches everything. For group dynamics, if you're in essential mode, you literally catch all the energies which are happening. So it's all there. You don't need to reflect on that. You know it, and you can react from that, and etc. But why I think it's important is that dealing with the energy is something which usually starts, it can go opposite way. Yeah? So it's like, of course, my mind and my thinking influence my energy. Usually, I don't see going towards the body fully. And if it's not embodied as a muscle, breathing, spine, etc., it's not an energy. It's an image of an energy. And actually, your actual energy influences the world, how to say, or your mind. Okay? This, we are there. Okay, and now, neutral position. Something which I believe to be the ultimate contact between us. This is it. This is zero. Completely, I'm not supposed to do this. Showing your soul. It's everything is awakened, and I'm present. And all my muscles, and it demands quite some work to get to the pure neutral. If I manage that with my performers, it's miracle. I was in love with that. That's how I started to explore all this now. Years and years of exploration. Because when you have 3 bodies in a neutral position, you have 1,000 people in the audience crying. Just with the pure fact. Here, there are 3 people doing nothing. It's marvelous. Doing nothing, yeah? Because it's actually, you can see the whole soul of the person. We are hiding in a different ways, and that can be learned or unlearned, how to say. Neutral is also the starting point for any communication. So anything out of neutral is already telling something. Let's do some experiment. Can you stand up? Let's just try. Okay, try to go first in the neutral, whatever you believe is neutral. So it's check if your head is really standing on a, so it's a parallel, so it's not a threaded and it's not sorry, it's really parallel and I'm standing and my head is there, okay? So we are there. Try now just to take your chin up and your eyes are still looking straight and just look around the room at the people. You can even shake your hand with the person next to you, but this is like with slight chin. Just notice your attitudes, your emotions. Notice how the world looks for you. Just look it around and see how the world is looking. Okay? Okay, back to neutral. Now it's down and now eyes. So it's now, again, the same thing. Look around the space. And also you can shake the hands with somebody and check the emotions. How do you feel? Yeah? When you look like this. Good. Go back to neutral. Now put your nose up front a little bit. So there is a little bit. Look how the world looks like from this. What kind of emotions and characters is appearing? And then try another one, which is someone is just pulling you here, so your shoulders are really back. And look around. Okay, just look at the world, how the world, what do you think, what do you believe, what is happening? And now relax the shoulders, your hips are going. So this is it. Look around. What is now? What is your attitude towards the world? Huh? Okay, thank you very much. You can sit. But this doesn't necessarily go so extreme, yeah? So, but any small movement of this kind is influencing energy and influencing relationships. So I can stand and say, we are equal, I respect you, but my chin, whoops, is a little bit up. I don't need to stand. And there is something else transferred there. If my hips are down, this immediately puts my spine in this relaxed, I cannot discriminate. I cannot beat anybody from this. You know, even if I try, it's very hard. You know, I want to laugh, eventually I can drink beer, but this is not the position I can go, let's go and fight on a football game. It's impossible. So for me, that's a huge space to explore. And the last one, but not the least one, which I think it's really important and can be used, talking about empathy, solidarity, is something which I call complicité, which is French word. I translate it in English, and in English it means doing criminal acts, so it's so it's not that, but well, I can invent my own words. But basically, it means an ensemble, and the fact that we connect as the bodies in the space after a while, just by the simple fact that we are. And that we become, after a while of moving and doing stuff, I do this, and someone behind me do exactly the same. It's magic. It's pure magic. It takes time, but that connection always happens. And for some people it's easier, for some people it's more difficult, so it depends but it never fails because it's already there, so it's just kind of removing things to help it happen. I usually go with that by giving a task with very simple walking, going to neutral, so I provide context for that complicity to happen. And relevant for our practice might be this, I don't feel like, who cares? Tiger doesn't feel like or is ready for. He does what he needs to do. So it's a focus on a task. And if you are allowing task and trust to someone who can lead you in a space, maybe which is not familiar to you, or maybe it's familiar, doesn't matter, but I can help you if I'm in the role of a leader, then you follow the task and magic happens. And it can be very unpleasant for some people. You know, the task can, as such, is not necessarily pleasant, but doesn't matter. So there is impro theater rule, which says, doesn't matter how do you feel, just go on stage and do it. And I think it has a peak relevance also for group dynamics, for different things that we want, that providing a context and then lifting up into something completely different. And when complicity happens, we know this is this soul-to-soul connection, and it's beauty and solidarity already there. And for me, this is something we really should work with. So this is something, yeah, I believe already is there. So it's not only building on our prejudice thinking, but it's really providing a body memory, because body remembers everything. It remembers trauma, but it remembers miracles. If you provide that kind of connection, this is inclusion, talking about inclusion. I know I am. And to finish up with the trust exercise, hopefully, which is not trust exercise, and I really hope that nobody does that in our practice anymore. Do you know this exercise when you need to stand and then people, yeah? Well, I do hope that you are not using it, and if you do, please stop. Because what I've seen from that exercise, it's taken from theater, and it's basically impulse exercise. And it has nothing to do with the collapse, or I do a trust or trusting person, etc. I can trust you, you can be a wonderful person, you fall down and you break your neck. Because with my good intentions, I still might not catch you. If we are incomplicit, connected with our impulses, natural thing is, that's what the tiger would do. The moment you start falling, I'm gonna go down. And I catch you, not because I'm a wonderful person, but because my body knows if complicit falls apart, it's very dangerous for all of us. So on that body level, there is some kind of love, which is for me really beautiful. And yeah, that's something I would like to finish this talk to think about that, because there are a lot of things claimed on our impulses, provoking wars, etc. But I think that healing our impulses can actually open the whole world of a beauty in that area, and there are so many beautiful things also happening. So thank you very much. Take a look at your colleagues on the lunch or coffee breaks to check how the choreography happens. So kill the words and just notice the bodies, what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marija. Thank you so much. That was very inspiring. And we still have a few minutes before going to our workshop. So like yesterday, I invite you to gather in small groups, 3, 4, 5 at max, so that everybody has the space to talk and have a conversation about this topic. You know, the body, how you use it in your work, how you promote it